Alright, so I've been through this recording 4 or 5 times now, just to get a feel for the game and what's going on, what you're doing. Actually, you played a really, really great Mercy game this game. Really good positioning for the most part. Good reses, really, really good Valks. Honestly, you probably played better than I played Diva this game. So, I had to go through this game a couple times just to find stuff that, we could talk about a little bit.
Maddie, do you want a break?
Okay, so one of the first things I wanted to point out, that's a really good call out. Nicely asked. Sombra just doesn't do a lot for the team, so very situational when you've got so many DPS. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything. So that was a good switch. You could use extra healing as well. Okay. So.
Evamora.
So good first call out here. A little bit of information before the match starts never really hurts anybody. So good call it.
Tracing a recall.
Another good call out.
Oh, bitch.
God, I take a lot of damage. I'm playing aggressively here. This is on me here, so I didn't watch my health, so
Tracer behind.
this is a good call out on Tracer. Good call out on Tracer. She gets melted
Tracer
pretty
down.
quickly because of it. Everybody's pretty low, but keeps them alive. So, this is really the first thing I want to talk about. Just because, So you come over here, you res them. Maddie dies up here, right? So you come up here for the res in front of your entire teammate, in front of all of your teammates. So, potentially an okay res, but they were fighting just around this corner, and the whole fight's been around this area right here, right? So it's not too big of an assumption to assume that they're on this side of the wall, right? So a little bit of risky res, coming forward a little bit, just so I can point it out a little bit. So, you take a lot of damage there. The difference between life and death was only a stun, so I'm assuming he probably didn't have his stun, otherwise he would have used it. A stun and you probably would have been dead, and, 3 people around you, nobody can really protect you. Plus, just on the flip side of something to consider when you're in the middle of a fight, our spawn's right here, right? You got a 15-second walk back max, and you got a 30-second cooldown on here, right? Their spawn is way over here, right? They've got to go through a bunch of stuff to get back here. So, say we come around the corner up here, somebody dies, even if the McCree's not back at that point, it's a 5 versus 5 fight. It's even, whereas we had the advantage to start off with. We probably have more damage dealt. So if you can get a res farther away from your spawn over here and more up towards like this hill or towards the back end of the point, probably a better place to use your res. But we'll get on to this hit because not too big of a deal. You didn't end up using your res, so guess we'll go full speed again.
Baby, you look so pretty on fire.
Pull back.
So another one of your really good ults,
Fucking me.
keeping everybody alive here.
Oh my fucking.
There's not much you could do there. John got obliterated by a flash before he could do anything.
Tracer's behind.
So, okay, so I just wanted to mention this really quick. So, the reason why that was a better res is, just because we're in the middle of a team fight, they hadn't just got a pick or anything besides road, and they weren't right up in our faces, you could safely res behind that wall. So, even though we were right by our spawn, still not quite as bad of a res as the one right up here. Just because, it's so much quicker for you to die right here than it is for you back here. So, potentially could have saved that res, but it wasn't a bad or risky res like the one up here was.
Roadhog just used his,
So here, just kind of unlucky, you know. You could always use a call out on that, but at that point it doesn't really matter, just because the fight was already over. He wasted his ult.
Bye.
Oh no, I had already died.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
So,
bye.
okay, I think I missed it because I was talking, but
Alright.
Evolve.
Alright.
Evolve.
I'll be back shortly.
okay, so that call, I'll be back shortly, was a really, really good call. What it did is, you know, as you can see, I'm up here, and then by the time you come around this corner, I'm ready to pull
Oh,
you.
yeah, I was like,
So,
bye.
you know, in the middle of a fight, it's kind of hard to always pay attention to the kill feed. Obviously, I should, but that was a good call for me to be able to come back and bust you to the fight.
Oh, bitch.
So, it could have been worthwhile using, I won't say it's wrong one way or another because you know Mercy better than me, but it could have been potentially worth using damage boost while we're all full instead of, you know, being ready to heal us and preemptively healing us. So, again, never hurts for a call out on those, even though both of them get melted pretty quickly.
Tracer down, Ash down. Lucio's about to be down.
But otherwise, good timing on everything. Might have not been the best place to use your ult. That was already a one fight, but otherwise, I think this was the only ult that could have been considered a little questionable. But you do get your ult back fast enough that
Lucio's about to be down.
it, you know, not too big of a deal, but it could potentially save us a fight. Okay, so one of the things that scares me the most that you do is this right here. When, you know, there's no tanks in front of you and you're the first one peeking. It's not always a super bad idea, but, you know, it takes, there's 2 or 3 DPS right here. It takes 2 good shots and unfortunately you're dead. So, you know, something that as me as an off tank pushing forward, I can give you that information here around the corner. And, you know, it is something I need to work on, but I can give you that information. So, maybe be a little bit more cautious about, you know, peeking out around these corners, because that could have been a really big stall on their part if this was a competitive game. Okay, so pretty good positioning. Not too bad. Ready for
Beautiful.
me to push in there.
Point. Oh god. Get back up there.
So, shit ton of healing. Again, that was my fault here. Yeah, I honestly don't have too much bad to say. So, here, you could potentially use call out that you've got a Bob. Most of our team probably knows there. But you could potentially call it that you have a Bob on you and use that truck there and peek around it for healing on each side. Just because when you go through the air, you risk, you know, stuff like that happening to where you randomly take a lot of damage. So,
There we go.
DVD
but not bad otherwise. You play a very, very outstanding Mercy this game. So here, since you have long range heals and we've got a Brig that can shield bash, it might be worth calling out, hey, Mercy on point, and having Brig come up and fighting beside us. You know, that way you can get the long range heals off and we can get some extra damage through a shield bash. So that might be something you should consider when you're playing Mercy, is if your team doesn't run too far off the point, if they're wanting to play a little bit in front of it while pushing, that you might be wanting to stay on the point while the rest of the team gets aggressive. as long as you can still heal and damage boost them or whatever, but it might be not too bad of a place for you to be in a situation like this to get the maximum out of, Mercy, just because her range is so long for heals compared to a lot of the other healers, minus Ana. So I actually really like
Sleeping on the
this.
side.
Every time I watch this play, I really enjoyed what you did here. It's, just one of those small things. So, you kept me up through the sleep. It wasn't in too much of a danger, but at the same time, you had to stay there for the res because it was a good place to res.
I love when like use their little bubble thing.
But, you did watch out my back, which is a really good thing.
It's very nice.
No,
That was bad, don't look.
Oh, bitch is golden.
Okay, another good Valk.
Shit.
That was meant to go down. Good res.
With the reverb.
Kept us in the fight for sure. So, the only thing I gotta say about this is, Valkyrie's got a duration that you know pretty well by now. So here, you come off of the Valkyrie, and you land. You had. Oh, whoops! Go back a little bit. So you had Brig right here, right? And I can't exactly tell who that is, but I'm assuming it's not somebody you want to be by. But you've got a Brig with a good CC here, McCree with another CC here, Mia's Diva's over here, and then your team's over here. So you're kind of like the prime target right now. Had this been a high-level game, or even probably competitive, she probably would have tried to drag you if she still had it. He would have probably tried to stun you, and the Brig over here would have tried to shield bash you. Almost instant deletion. So, something to pay a little bit of attention to when you're coming off on that. It was my fault, you being in a position like that, because you're trying to keep me alive here. But, still, this could have potentially went really bad if it didn't work out for us. So here, potentially you could have called me over to you instead of going over to me. You didn't die, obviously, but, it could have ended like that. Again, just because they have so many CCs, and there's so many CC in the game.
No mercy. No revive.
So really good job keeping me alive.
Diva behind.
Another good call. You had a lot of really good call-outs this game. They really kept us in this fight. Good damage boost. Took care of the Diva because of that. Another good alt. Nobody's paying attention to the res. Nobody needs healing. That was a really good res. Good damage boost.
Yeah.
Battle Mercy. Yeah, overall, man, really good game. You played a really outstanding Mercy. Your positioning was really good, minus, that res where you were in front of the team, where you peeked out in front of the team. Something that I notice a lot is you're trying to get your own information. Again, my fault. I can relay more of that information to you. But something to keep in mind, the higher skill you get, the higher skill rating we get, the more those kind of moves are going to cost you. Overall, really good timing on almost all of your Valkyries. Winter Valkyries are good to be used, so I won't get into that too much, but you had some really good positioning, really good Valkyries. Overall, you kept me alive as Diva when I was taking an absolute shit ton of damage. So, overall, really good Mercy. I had to watch this a bunch of times, to find anything. I have a list of, 5 things to say throughout the whole entire thing that, you played well enough that I had to watch this multiple times to get. But, overall, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say about mine. and later.